So for 2-6, we're going to be taking everything we've learned about solving equations, and we're going to be solving multi-step linear equations. So multi-step is going to be, because it asks us for the definition, it's going to have more than one step. So more than one step needed to solve our equation. So we have a problem here. 3x plus 4 equals 10. So when we solve, we do the opposites, as we've said before. So we have to go in the opposite order. Think about PEMDAS. That's how we usually work problems. But if we are solving this, then we're going to go backwards. So we're going to take care of our addition and subtraction first. Then we're going to multiply and divide. And we really don't have to worry about parentheses or exponents for this particular lesson. So when we're solving, we're still trying to get x's on one side and our numbers on the other. And the first thing we always do is we're going to get rid of whatever is added or subtracted. So first, we take care of addition and subtraction. So we have a plus 4. To get rid of a plus 4, we're going to do the opposite of that, which is minus 4 from both sides. So my plus 4 and minus 4 cancel. I get 3x equals 10 minus 4 is 6. Well, now this is a one-step problem because all I have to do is get rid of that 3. Remember, when we have a letter and a number next to each other, that means that they are multiplied. And to get rid of something that's multiplied, we do the opposite of that, which is to divide. So we divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 cancels, and x equals 6 divided by 3 is 2. So looking at number 2, we have 2x minus 7 equals 3. So again, in order to solve this, we got to get x's on one side and our numbers on the other. And we always get rid of what's added or subtracted first. So to get rid of that minus 7, we're going to plus 7 to both sides. So we have 2x equals, because negative 7 and positive 7 canceled, 3 plus 7 is 10. So 2 times x equals 10. To get rid of what's multiplied, do the opposite of that, which is to divide. 2 divided by 2 cancels, and x equals 10 divided by 2 is 5. And that would be my answer. Now, sometimes we're going to have problems like this, where they have lots of variables. So I'm going to rewrite this out. We have 7 plus 3x plus x plus 4 plus 2x equals 9. So we need to get all of our x's on one side and our numbers on the other, but we have a lot of x's and we have a lot of numbers. So let's first of all basically cover up the right-hand side and let's look at the left-hand side. And we're going to do what's called combining like terms, which you don't actually learn about this until later on, but we're going to do our best here. So combining like terms means we're putting all of our numbers together. So that would be 7 and 4 because they're just numbers. And then we're also putting all of our things with x's together. So 3x, x, and 2x. So if we look at what's circled, 7 plus 4 is 11, and it's positive. If we look at what we have boxes around, 3x plus 1x is 4x, plus 2x is 6x. So we have 6x plus 11 equals 9. Well, now this is like every other problem we've done before. So we're going to solve this, which means we want to get our x's on one side, we already labeled that, and our y's on the other, or our numbers on the other, sorry. To get rid of, what we're going to get rid of first is that plus 11. So we're going to minus 11 from both sides. So we end up with 6 times x equals negative 2. And then we need to get rid of that 6 that's multiplied. So we're going to divide both sides by 6. So we get x equals negative 2 divided by 6. I can't actually divide that because 6 is the bigger number and it's on bottom. It's going to be a fraction still. I can reduce it and it is going to give me negative 1/3. And that would be my answer. Now, sometimes we're going to have problems with what we call the distributive property. So the distributive property is going to look like this. You're going to have some number, for example 5, and you're going to have some parentheses. We'll say x plus 2. The distributive property is like multiplication. When you are distributing, you are taking what's outside the parentheses and multiplying it by everything inside the parentheses. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 2 is 10. So the question number 2 says, when should you use the distributive property? When there is a number in front of parentheses. So let's skip down. It asks us for number 5, to organize information, to do some steps, to label steps. So when we're solving equations with distributive property, the first thing we're going to do is use the distributive property to get rid of the parentheses. The second thing we're going to do is collect the like terms on each side of the equation. Then we're going to rearrange the equation until it's in standard form. Then we're going to solve by using the opposite operations. So let's just talk about what all this means. So if we're going to solve this, x is on one side, number is on the other. Before we can do any solving, we've got to get rid of these parentheses. We have to just have all these numbers and letters. So we need to distribute. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5, plus 3 equals 13. So I'm looking for what I can combine together. I don't have anything else with x's, but I have a negative 5 and a positive 3 on the same side. So I can do negative 5 plus 3, which is negative 2. So I end up with 5 times x minus 2 equals 13. To solve this now, because that's the point I'm at. I don't have anything else I can combine together. So remember, when we solve, we always add or subtract first. So we're going to plus 2 to both sides. So we end up with 5x equals 15. Then I can divide both sides by 5, because remember, that's 5 times x. The 5's cancel. I get x equals 15 divided by 5 is 3. And that would be my final answer. So moving on to our checkup, we're asked to solve each of the following equations for x. So starting with the first one, 3x plus 4 equals 10. So if I'm solving this, then I want to get my x's on one side and my numbers on the other. So the thing that's out of place is the plus 4. To get rid of the plus 4, we minus 4 from both sides. And you get 3x equals 6, because 10 minus 4 is 6. Remember that 3x means 3 times x, and to get rid of what's multiplied, we do the opposite, which is to divide. So 3's cancel. I get x equals 6 divided by 3 is 2. All right, so moving on to number 3. We have 8x minus 20 equals negative 52. So I'm trying to get my x's on one side and my numbers on the other. So to get x by itself, I need to get rid of the minus 20. So I'm going to plus 20 to both sides. So minus 20 and plus 20 are going to cancel. 8x equals negative 52 plus 20. Be very careful when you're adding and subtracting here. It's really negative 32. To get x by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 8. The 8's cancel, and I get x equals negative 32 divided by 8 is negative 4. So that would be my answer. Instead of doing number 5, I'm going to do number 6 because I want to ensure that I do one with parentheses. So in order to solve problem number 6, we have to distribute. Again, I'm going to go ahead and label my sides, my x's and my numbers. And I'm going to end up distributing 6 times x and 6 times 2. Well, 6 times x is still 6 times x, plus 6 times 2 is 12, equals 42. And now this problem is like both 1 and 3. So to get rid of the plus 12, we minus 12 from both sides. So we have 6 times x equals 30, because 42 minus 12 is 30. And to get x completely by itself, we have to get rid of the 6. So to get rid of something that's multiplied, we divide both sides by 6. So I end up with x equals 30 divided by 6 is 5. And that would be my answer. Number 7. We have parentheses again. So we're going to draw our line down the middle. We want our x's on one side, our numbers on the other. First thing we need to do is get rid of our parentheses. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 4 is 12. Bring down my plus 2. And the reason I just bring that down is because when my parentheses stops here, I stop distributing. So before we do start moving stuff around, let's go ahead and let's combine our plus 12 and our plus 2 together. We can do that because they're both numbers. So 3x equals, or 3x plus 14 equals 12. So again, I'm trying to get x by itself, so to get rid of that plus 14, I'm going to minus 14 from both sides. So the plus 14 minus 14 cancel. I have 3 times x equals 12 minus 14 is going to give me a negative 2. So now I need to get x by itself. And to do that, I'm going to divide both sides of the equation by 3. And I really can't divide negative 2 by 3 because it's going to give me a decimal. So I'm just going to leave it as negative 2/3. So that would be my answer. One last one, number 9. Again, we're solving, so we want our x's on one side, our numbers on the other. I'm going to go ahead and distribute over here. 7 times 14 is going to be 98. 7 times negative x is negative 7x. I don't have any parentheses on the right-hand side, so I'm just going to bring down 3x plus 18. So I need to move some things around. So one of the things that's out of place is this 98. So I'm going to minus 98 from both sides. The reason I minus 98 is because it's currently positive. From the right side, I can only minus 98 from the 18. I can't subtract it from the 3x because this has an x with it. So I have negative 7x equals 3 times x minus 80. 18 minus 98 is negative 80. I still need to get my x's on the same side, so I'm going to minus 3x from both sides. And I end up with negative 10 times x equals negative 80. And lastly, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 10. So I end up with x equals positive 8. So that would be my solution to this problem.